Alright guys, what's up? So today I want to make a video on how you can conquer your self-doubt of, you being afraid or not believing in yourself when you want to learn something new. And I'll use myself as an example because recently I accomplished something that I myself usually used to doubt myself in. I thought I could never achieve this and that. So basically, for those who don't know, I make so for example, for the recent video that we did, which was the video about the Anatan Island, that video was completely animated and it was made in Blender. And oh yeah, and also, by the way, I'm playing Halo 2 today because I don't want to look like one of those channels that plays Minecraft and sort of tries to give life advice. It's sort of turned into its own niche, so I don't want to be in that. I just want to sort of identify this channel as just sit back and relax and let's have a chat. But yeah, so the recent video that I did, the Anatan video, was completely made in Blender. And for those who don't know, Blender has like primarily two render engines called Eevee and Cycles. And like Eevee is basically the real-time render engine. It's the rasterization engine, and a lot of people are not going to get this, obviously, but basically Eevee is just so in real life, you notice how like when you turn on your light in your room, like the whole room, is bright, and that's because of not ray tracing, but like global illumination is what it's called in 3D. So in Eevee, you don't have global illumination. So if you made let's say you designed a room and you had a lamp and you turned it on, the room would still be black. For them, like it would, I mean, depending on how you made the light, it would probably be really dark or just completely black, and you just have this one light shining from the distance. And in Cycles, you would actually have light bouncing around, so you would have a realistic looking room that's being lit up right now. And you know what, I can even I'm actually gonna leave this match so I can demonstrate it. So let me get out of here and I'll just quickly hop into Blender because I want to show you guys what I mean, because I think showing it visually is a way better method in my opinion. I don't like when people talk. I like it when they actually show stuff too. So I'm gonna open up Blender right now. Yeah, so this right here is I'm gonna explain what this is in a minute. So there you go. Let's just design a basic room. Actually, I'm gonna just take a cube. We don't need anything special. So let's say this is a room, right? And right now we're in Eevee, obviously. Let's kind of keep it. All right. Now let's add a I would say a point light, because usually your light would probably be a point light if I'm not mistaken. I'm not that good at realism. But let's just put this light right here, make it really bright, and then if I go to Eevee right here, I do have to turn this down. So see, because of the background lighting, it's sort of still giving it light, but as you can see, it looks okay, but like this is not what it would look like in real life. And in Cycles, we see the difference right here. Let me just switch to Cycles, GPU. It's gonna lag for a bit. Let me just switch to my presets. Okay, so you see how like the light is everywhere now, as you can see, and I can even add something right here to act as of a, like, so you can see the light demonstration even better. So let me just do this real quick. Sorry if it's taking way too long, but I really want to show you guys visually so you know what I mean. There we go. So this is a monkey model that we have right here, and as you can see, the light, it bounces around and it goes on the bottom of the monkey too. As you can see, it reflects pretty nicely. And in Eevee, the monkey looks from this, it goes to this completely black. The light isn't bouncing back and forth. And to circumvent this, you would have somebody made a plugin called SSGI for Eevee. So this would do the same global illumination in Eevee. So when you enable this, it would do the same bouncing thing, but it wouldn't look as good as Blender, because that's just how it is, and I used to use this for a while, but then I gave up and I was like, nah. And then for the Anatan video, I said, why don't we just actually use Cycles for this one? And you don't even understand. Each scene that I would make took like an hour or two to render, and that's ultimately why the video took close to 2 months. So let's say this shot right here that I made with the soldier standing in the city, it's gonna take a while to load. All right, there we go. So this simple shot, let me just load in all the textures. So as you can see, you see this in the video. This was the shot with the 3 soldiers in the city, and this is how it looks like in Cycles. It looks really good, like photorealistic, as well as good as it can be, you know. And in Eevee, look how it looks. It doesn't look like it just doesn't look good. I used a sky texture, and that's not even available in Eevee. And if I had to use another one, it would just look like this. Like, it doesn't look good at all. And in Cycles, we have, you know, it just looks so much more better. But yeah, that's why the video took 2 months to make. And I'm gonna get back to Halo now. But, you know, that's ultimately, like, that was the huge problem. I wanted to achieve photorealism, but, like, it just took way too long. And, I have a good friend who some of you guys might know. His name is Jack. Or Safrani. He used to be the former guy on Disrupt. I don't want to address all the drama because he's a super good friend of mine, but he used to be the former guy on Disrupt, right? That used to make the really cool videos, and I was so inspired by him. Like, he actually was one of the main reasons why I even decided to introduce 3D into my videos, because back then I had an old channel called Bisurf2, but it's gone now. I gave it to a friend, but basically what happened is, on that channel I used to make like these YouTube drama videos, and they were like just, you know, 2D and stuff. Like, there was no 3D animations. It was all in Premiere, maybe some After Effects too, but like, you know, I was always like, so basically, you know, I had like this self-doubt. I was like, in my head, like, oh, I'm not good enough, like, I'm not skilled enough to learn Blender and stuff. Or, well, I already had learned Blender since like 2016 or 2017 or something, but I just, you know, I would just make still shots in Blender back then. I wouldn't make any animations. So I was like, oh, you know, I'm never going to be able to make like animations, because I saw Disrupt's channel, right? I was like, oh, I'm never going to be able to achieve this. Like, these guys are so much more talented than me, and like, you know, they're just so much more better than me, and I thought I wouldn't be able to do anything. So that's where the self-doubt comes in, and this is what most people do when they see a huge goal that they want to achieve. Like, for example, game development. You know how complex it is, because you have to think like about all the mechanics of your game. What do you want to have included? Even something as simple as like Halo, what I'm playing right now, it's super complex because you have the physics of me throwing the grenade, the programming behind me shooting, how the animation plays out when I'm shooting, how the animation plays when I'm reloading. It's all super complex stuff, and you have to make these huge game design documents and stuff. And when you think about all this, it sort of piles up in your head, and you're like, oh yeah, this is just way too much, I'm gonna tap out. And that's what most people do. But you know, that's what I did too. I was like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to achieve this, because just look at how ridiculous everything is, like what Disrupt was making. I was looking at their channel so much. And then there's this really cool YouTuber out there called Pirate Software, who's a game developer, but he also like has these shorts where he just he sort of gives like advice in for aspiring game developers. Let me just pull up this video. Actually, I have it right here. So this right here, just listen to this video and just, you know, see what he says.
There's too many times where we feel you have to be this tall to ride the ride. You have to be this tall to learn programming. You have to be this intelligent. You have to be this organized. You have to be this smart, whatever it's going to be. That's not true. The way that this works is it's not a brick wall where you're like, oh God, I can't get up there. It is, you know what? I'm going to check out how to make a video game. I'm going to make a game design document. I'm going to look at engines that might work with my game. I'm going to look at languages that work with that engine. I'm going to make a box move inside of the game. I'm going to make it so I can jump in my game. Oh wait, I've climbed the wall. You are building steps. Everything that you do, every little tiny thing that you do is a step towards scaling that wall that was terrifying before. And this is how it works. This is why we don't fight the final boss at level 1. We beat individual levels to get there every time. That's it. So take your little steps, man. Do it.
Alright, so see, like, he demonstrated in such simple steps, like, it's like, there's steps to this, and you don't have to, because there's another short where he was like, oh yeah, people, what they do when they try to learn game development is they just instantly go to the final boss, but that's not how it works. When you play, I don't know, when you play Elden Ring, you don't go to the last boss, because that's not how it works. You have to build progress first and stuff, and get experience and stuff before you go and beat the final boss. So when he said that, it sort of opened my eyes, and I was like, maybe I'm able to do this. Because think about it, at the time I didn't even talk to Jack, the disrupt guy. I don't like to call him that because he doesn't do that anymore. But I didn't talk to Jack at the time, so I didn't have that source of like motivation and inspiration, because he's a super cool guy. The way he like explains stuff to me is like in a way that he's like, oh, this is possible, you can totally do this and stuff. So yeah, when I saw that short, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is possible. I'll open Blender, because I hadn't opened Blender in like 2 years, because I take these long breaks sometimes, which is good. You need to take your breaks. But when I opened Blender, I was overwhelmed once again, because I'd forgotten most of the stuff that I learned. And it was so complex for me, because I saw, oh, what is this camera animation, easing, like graph easing, geometry nodes, compositing, what is all this? Like, I don't even know anything. So I gave up. But then I was like, I remembered you have to take it in steps, right? So what I did is I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna add a cube and a plane, like a ground thing, and I'm gonna just do this, make a simple material with like a metallic thing, because the metallic one is so easy. You just go and adjust the slider that says metallic. So I did that, and I made a simple scene that had a cube and a plane. And then I was like, all right, this looks good, but how can I bring a camera into this, because I thought of like, what if I have like a light that comes from behind, and gives those cool like highlights from behind, and I can move the camera, like it zooms out. I thought that would be pretty cool. So I learned how can I animate a camera in Blender and stuff, and I found a lot of videos, and also a cool guy. If you want to learn Blender and like a lot of stuff in there, watch Ian Hubert, because he's super good at Blender. He like, bro, the way that he explains things is like super simple. He's like, if you want to make a building, you don't need to model like a whole thing. Just take an image of a building and then just turn it into 3D by extending certain vertices and stuff. The way that he explains it is like so motivating and stuff. But yeah, I was looking at Ian Hubert a lot, and like he has like this plugin called Camera Shakeify, where you can make like these realistic camera shakes with just a click of a button. And I did that, and I made a basic scene with like the camera shaked a little bit, like as if it was handheld, and it zoomed out. I was like, holy crap, like I'm actually doing this, like what? And then I kept evolving, or I was like, oh, you know what, this time I'm gonna just, what if I just instead of a cube, what if I have a guy standing there and I zoom out? That would be like a pretty cool shot, because it would like seem like mysterious. And then I didn't know how to model a guy, like a person. I tried to do it, but like I did like a low poly model. I don't even know if I have the project file, but it didn't look so good. Like it looked like a mix between Roblox and Minecraft. But I did it, and then I rendered it again, and I was like, oh my god, like this looks so sick. And I'm actually doing something, oh bruh. And so then it was like, all right, I have this guy, but can I sort of like make him move and stuff? Like, what if he like moved his head, like he looked at the ground and then he moved slowly up as the scene was like ending and stuff? That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? So I looked up, all right, how can I rig a character? So then it was really simple too. You just enable an add-on called Rigify, then you just add a skeleton, and then you just make sure it matches up with the pose of your guy, and then you do like the parenting, and then boom, you have a fully working rig now. And I was like, what? It's that easy? And then I did it, and I moved his head like the way that I imagined. I was like, holy shit. Like I said like a verbal holy shit, because I was like, what? Like, I never knew that it was so simple to get into it. But yeah, I had did it, and then I was super proud of myself. And then I kept on evolving. I was like, all right, I have this now. How can I how can I do custom animations? You need a motion capture suit, which is super expensive. I don't have that money, but there is a free site called Mixamo by Adobe where you can just grab free animations. And you know what? People always like to make it seem like, oh, if you use pre-made stuff, you suck. You're not good at Blender. But no, if you use pre-made stuff to further visualize your dream that you had about a 3D scene, you don't suck for that. You're not bad. Don't listen to anybody that says they're bad because they have an ego. Everybody starts off somewhere, and eventually, you know what? Maybe someday you'll have a motion capture suit and you can make your own animation. And nowadays you can even just record yourself, and then with AI you can turn that into an animation. Because back then when I learned, we didn't have that yet. So but I went on Mixamo and I was like, wait, oh my god, they even have pre-made characters here, so I can basically make like a whole scene. I just need to learn how to make a building now. So, but first I had to learn, so I have this animation that I just downloaded. It's called animation.fbx. How do I put this into Blender? So I looked up how to import an FBX animation, which was, I'm not gonna lie, it was probably the easiest thing ever. You just go to File on the top left, then import FBX, and boom, just double click on your object, and then it's in the scene, and you can move around and stuff, and the keyframes are already on the bottom of the timeline. So I did that, right? And I had like, what I think it was like 2 or 3 characters just like there. I think they were like just moving, one of them was jumping and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, it's actually working. Like, I'm getting closer and closer to fulfilling my vision. And then I kept on evolving. I was like, all right, now how do I make like a room? Like, or what if I make a city? And then I came across Ian Hubert's tutorial on how to make a city, and or not a city, I think it was a building. And all he did, he just he just took an image he took of a building, and then he just like extruded it. And what I mean with extruding is like he just took certain parts of the image and then just like sort of, how do I say, like extended them and like rotated them and stuff like that, so they looked like it was actually 3D. And then like within the matter of like a few minutes, he had like a fully like decent looking building, and I was like, oh my god. So I did it, and then it worked, and I was like damn, it's actually working. And I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't like, not every practice was easy. Like, it wasn't like every time I wanted to learn something, I just looked up how to do it, and like I was like, damn, it works. Sometimes I followed a tutorial and it didn't work. Like, it just didn't work, and I had to try over and over again until until it worked. So that's just to say that nothing ever works on the first try, or not everything works on the first try. So practice and see what's wrong and then fix it. So that's what I did. Because he had made this tutorial how to make a city at night, where like he just made multiple cubes with like a certain brick texture, and then because like how bricks have that certain like texture with the multiple bricks laid on top of each other, you can do that in Blender too. And what Ian did is he actually literally just took the brick texture and then just added a material that makes it like reflective and stuff, and then that turned out to be it looked like a city, sort of like a city building at night. And then he used that, made multiple of those, and then just added like some like some fog and stuff, some lighting, and he had like a fully like good looking city at night, like for like a good drone shot. And I was like, oh my god. And then I was following that tutorial, and I was like, you know what, let me step out of my comfort zone. This time let me import something that was not in the tutorial. So let me import a car, actually. And then because you gotta sometimes you gotta step out of your comfort zone. And I was actually struggling because I didn't know how to even freaking animate anything. I just learned how to import still models and stuff, like not models, but like how to import a still cube that just stands in the scene and does nothing while the camera moves. I knew how to animate a camera, but not a car or something. But then again, I looked up, alright, how do I import a car? Download a car model and then just import it, and then you can, if it's from the distance, like if it's a shot where the camera's really far away, you don't even have to animate the wheels, so you can just move the car model by itself and it's gonna look the same. I was like, oh, okay. So I did that, And then from the distance I had like a car in the street that was like moving. I was like, oh my god, like this looks so sick. I was getting excited like every time I did something like that, because I was like, I I got that was my source of dopamine sort of. But I kept on doing those, and then I made a video about there was like some Pokemon drama where she said something about XQC gambling on Kick, and then XQC was like, oh, but Twitch hosts gambling too and stuff, and then it was like a whole gotcha moment, and I made a whole documentary about that, and that documentary was like a rip-off sort of it was like a Disrupt rip-off. Like, if Disrupt made a video on this drama, that's exactly how I envisioned it and made the video. But I did it, and then that's where I did like a lot of the 3D animations, and it looked pretty good, and the video even got like almost 10,000 views. I don't have it now anymore. I wish I could have shown you it. I mean, I don't know. I might be able to show you. I don't know. I gotta find it though. But yeah, I did that. And the video did pretty good. People were like, "Yo, this is crazy quality. It reminds you of Disrupt." And then I was like, "All right." Then I switched up my content because I wanted to make real documentaries instead of like these commentary videos on YouTuber drama. So I was like, "All right, you know what? Let me completely step out of my comfort zone and make documentaries," because just with 3D animations I had doubted myself, and I thought, oh no, you can't make a real documentary. Like, you can't make a good documentary, and that's not going to be possible. But then I made multiple documentaries, and you know what, they did not do well. They were completely shit in terms of like performance, because my channel's audience was like purely based off of YouTube drama. So when you switch up that, when you have a loyal audience and then you switch it up, the views are gonna sort of sky plummet. But yeah, I still did it because it was more of a passion thing, and I was like, fuck the views, I want to make a documentary just to prove myself right, that like, or like wrong, that I can make a documentary. So I did multiple documentaries. They all flopped, but I was happy because I saw myself making them, and I was just super proud of myself. And then my channel got like botted, and then I just was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna just start over again. I made a new channel called, this is the one that you're watching, not right now, not this channel, but the other one, the I Am Bisurf. And then I did, I re-uploaded like some videos. They did pretty good, but then I unlisted them because I wanted to start it off fresh. And then I did the Looks Max video, right? And that one took off. Like, this is 23,000 views. Pretty good for a second video. And then I did the Anaton video, and that one was fully Blender. And here comes the point again. I was talking, and at this point I already have known Jack for like almost a year, and I built a pretty good like bond with him. Like, I see him as one of my like an older brother. He's such a good friend. I love him so much, and like I just learned so much from him. And I was talking to him on like, how can I, like, it's like I'm trying to get into Unreal and stuff. I kept telling him, and then eventually I actually did get into Unreal, like, and I was like, hey Jack, I'm like struggling. And I remembered that a long time ago, because I'm an OG Disrupt viewer, so a long time ago I remember that Jack had made this video on how to make a VR game, or like a simulation in Unreal Engine. And in that video I like looked it up and I found it again, and I watched it a bit. I was like, like, this is like Jack explaining how to make like a Unreal Engine VR game, and like the thing had even like an animation. I was like, oh, perfect. I was exactly looking for an animation, but like the video wasn't really about animations for like a video, so it wasn't really useful for me. So I was like, I hit up Jack. I was like, hey, first of all, I want to say that I'm super grateful and I value your time a lot. Like, I understand how important the value for time is. Like, I don't just say it because everybody says, oh, I understand how your time is valuable. No, I actually knew that Jack specifically was a pretty busy guy, so I didn't want to waste his time, because I had asked him. I was like, yo, so I'm trying to get more into Unreal, like I told you, but like I'm struggling, and I saw this video that you did a long time ago where you taught people how to make this VR thing. Do you think it's possible that you could do something similar for me, like, you just record yourself making a 3D animation, so I can sort of see the workflow and stuff, and I can learn from that. And I was hesitant because I was like, why would you even say yes? Because that's what I kept telling myself. I kept doubting myself. I was like, nah, like, there's no way, you know. But then he was like, it was 3 a.m. I was already asleep, but he was like, yeah, sure, I'll make it for you. I was like, what? I woke up and he had actually sent me a Google Drive link of himself. Like, it didn't have any audio, but like it was just him making an animation, and like just he even added subtitles to explain like what he like does to circumnavigate certain stuff. I was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it was real. I woke up and that was the first thing I saw. I was so happy. And then I actually, you know, I was like, you know what? If Jack is supporting me, like helping me with knowledge, there is no excuse now. Because I wanted to learn Unreal for such a long time, but I kept doubting myself. I was like, no, it's not possible. You just like, Unreal is another thing. It's not Blender, so you're not gonna be able to do it. But then Jack sent me that video. I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. So I kept on telling myself, and you know what? This is the point where I realized and I conquered my self-doubt to learn something new. And the way that I did it is not just by telling myself I can do it, because, you know, like every single person that you talk to, they always say, oh, you gotta believe in yourself. And that's not like false. You do have to believe in yourself. But also, I visualized myself making a animation in Unreal Engine. I was like, I sort of like, I don't know if you can do this, but like, I'm sure like some of you guys know, bro, this guy keeps killing me with a fucking sword thingy, energy blade. But for those who know, like, you know when you close your eyes and you can imagine something, that's what I did. I was like imagining myself making a animation Unreal using the workflow that Jack had told me. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'll do this. So I kept on thinking about my vision, thinking about like all these cool renders that I made, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm hyped now. Like I was hyping myself up and stuff. So I did it, and what happened was I made the thing. So what Jack did is he just recorded himself making a cube and a plane and adding a camera movement to that, and even showing the animation, like how you can render it. And that was actually what I needed, because I wanted to do something basic first. So I did it. I added the cube, I added the plane, because he showed me sort of where it was in the video. So I did it and it worked. So like, you know, I was able to make a moving camera animation of like a cube. And I was like, holy, like this is the biggest step forward ever. Like I'm learning Unreal Engine right now. So yeah, I kept on learning. I was like, all right, how do I, like, because I saw that Unreal had this marketplace called Fab, and it has like a lot of pre-made free environments. I was like, you know, like I said, there is nothing wrong with using pre-made stuff. If it helps you to visualize your vision, then do it. So I remembered that, and I was like, all right, you know, there's like this cool sort of like a city. No, it wasn't a city. It was like a garbage environment sort of that I saw, and I was like, this is free, but how do I import it to Unreal? And then I remembered, all right, so Jack in the video, he made like a new level in Unreal where it was like a blank thing where he could just start working on his, you know, on his scene. So I was like, okay. So I downloaded that environment, and I imported it, because you can add stuff to your project in Unreal. And then it said, you know, add to project, and then I looked at my, like, you have this thing called the content browser in Unreal, which like shows you all your content. It's like a Windows file explorer sort of. And then I saw my stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I see, it's right there, the garbage environment. So I opened it up and it said maps. I was like, there you go, that's the levels thing. So I recognized stuff, and then I double clicked on the map, and then it opened up, and there was like this huge map, which like it wasn't like the full environment. It was more of like a, where I think it was Quixel. So like Quixel, it's basically them showing you each of the assets in this map, in this, you know, asset pack. So it was more of like a demonstration map, and I was like, you know what, it doesn't matter, I still want to import this and do a camera animation. So I did that. added the camera, and I was able to make a moving camera that like focused on like a trash can or something, and it looked really good because the lighting, like I said, Unreal Engine has I didn't say this though, but Unreal Engine has global illumination that is real time. So imagine Eevee with cycles compared, like combined, and that's what Unreal basically is. It had, whoa, I'm getting killed right now, but hey, Unreal had, you know, global illumination in real time. I was like, okay, this looks really good. And then I was like, I remember that Unreal has this thing called MetaHuman. It's like basically hyper realistic humans that you're able to animate, and if you have an iPhone, you can actually record your face, and then you can match it up with the MetaHuman, and then it's gonna basically be you talking. I saw that, I was like, yo. So I was like, all right, how do I make a MetaHuman? There's a website for that. I went on the website, and then I made like a simple MetaHuman. I just got like this guy, and I just changed his hair just to, you know, at least change something. And then I imported him into my project. And boom, I had a, you know, functioning MetaHuman. It was laggy at first, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, not everything works in the first try. So it was laggy as frick, you know, like laggy as fuck. Sorry if I keep cussing, but it was laggy. Like my Unreal literally crashed. Like it froze when I tried to move the character. So I had to forcefully close my Unreal using Task Manager, and then I looked up the problem. I was like, Unreal Engine MetaHuman lagging, and then I looked it up, and I was like, there was a problem with something with like the LOD in the MetaHuman, which you had to change the number of in the blueprint class. It sounds pretty complicated, but it isn't. It was just like changing a number in a file. That's the simplest way I can explain it. And if you did that, it would be like better performing, and it would just look a bit worse. And I did that, and it worked. The MetaHuman was working now, and you know, like, how do I say, it didn't even look that bad, to be honest. Like, it looked really photorealistic. I'm gonna put some images up of the MetaHuman that I did on screen, and you can see it's super realistic. Like, this looks like an actual, like a photo in like a studio. But yeah, then I was like, all right, I have this, and I remember that I, you know, Mixamo, I still use it till today. I was like, all right, so how can I take Mixamo and combine it with MetaHuman? Because that would literally just create the ultimate, you know, freaking like workflow. If you combined MetaHumans with Mixamo. And I looked it up, and basically what you had to do is you had to download the animation with the like rig thing, import it into Unreal. There's like a checkbox that says import animation. You gotta click that. And then what Unreal did, which is really convenient, is that when you have a skeletal animation thing, like a rig with the animation in it, you can literally just right click on it, and then it says retarget animation. And then when you click on that, you just gotta find, you just gotta like, there's like a new window that pops up, and on that new window, you gotta select, all right, which like body part do you want to retarget this to? Then you just have to select your Unreal Engine MetaHuman, and boom, it's working. And then you have to open up the sequencer in Unreal. You have to drag in that like animation thing, or no, you have to drag in your MetaHuman, and then there's like a thing that says animation with like a plus. You click on the plus, then look up your animation name, and then just add it, and then it should work, right? No, because what happened with mine was that I did see something moving, but it just wasn't like my animation, because I had like an animation of a guy jumping down. And in my scene, what happened is like my character had a hoodie, so like the strings or whatever it's called on the hoodie were like, those were just wiggling, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted the guy to jump down. So I was like, And then I realized that MetaHuman has its own rig, like control rig, where you can control the face and stuff. And you had to remove that, and then it worked. But I was like, you know, I still want to move around the guy's face and stuff and mess around with that. So how can I keep the two in but still have the Mixamo animation work? And to do that, you literally just had to like cut away the MetaHuman rig in the duration that your thing was playing, the Mixamo animation. So I was like, all right, Ben. And I did it, and then it worked. I was able to move the guy's eyes and stuff and still have the Mixamo animation. And then I took it a step further. I asked Jack how to, like, I have this scene with like some rocks and stuff that I made with assets. It's called kit bashing. And I was like, how can I, because I had like a one tree there, right? And in Blender, you can make a particle system on the ground and then have a lot of trees there. Like, so you can make a forest in like a couple of clicks. I was like, Jack, how do I do that in Unreal? He was like, it's called foliage or like vegetation painting. I was like, oh, shoot. So I looked it up, vegetation painting in Unreal. And it was as simple as clicking on a mode, the foliage mode, and then you just had to import the models, so like the tree models, choose the brush size, the density, like how many trees would spawn on each click, and then you just, you know, started to paint on the ground. You needed the big ground though. But that's what I did, and then it worked. I had like a huge forest that I made in like a couple of minutes. Then I had this model of a watchtower, and then I just imported that. And then I imported my metahuman on top of, like, in the watchtower on the top floor. And he was just looking, and I animated his head and stuff. And boom! I had basically learned how to make Unreal Engine animations and how to make environments, too, on my own. And that was all thanks to number one, Jack. Like, huge thanks to Jack. But also my belief in myself. My self-belief that I was able to do this. And you know what, guys? Something that I haven't said is that I literally learned all of this yesterday. In one day, I went from a cube to a fully, like, made environment with a human in it, like a fully working scene. And when, like, I even, you know what, I have two of the animations, like the start and the finish. I have them actually on my directory, so I'm putting them up on my screen. As you can see, this is the cube right here, super boring stuff, and then boom, that's the forest that I made. It's kind of blurry because the guy is unfocused, but you see, like, there's hundreds of trees in the background and stuff, and they're even moving and stuff. And the cool thing, like, is that Unreal is so optimized that it's able to handle millions of objects without even lagging. My PC is not that good. I don't have an RTX card. I just have a GTX 1660 Ti, and it was not even lagging. And the render time too. So in Blender, it would usually take me like 3 hours for a scene like that. But in Unreal, it literally took me like 20 seconds. 20 seconds or something. That's it. For like a huge forest. I was like, what? This is such a game changer. But that's pretty much the whole story of how you can accomplish your goals and overcome your self-doubt. What you have to do is you have to, number one, don't be afraid to use pre-made stuff for the beginning, you know? Because I started off with a pre-made environment and then I had made my own. Number two, look up tutorials. You know, usually what I do is I just mess around in the program and then I make something. That's what I did in Blender because I had a lot of experience by then. But, you know, with Unreal, I had to look up tutorials. And you know what? That's fine. Look up tutorials, but step out of that comfort zone when you have learned enough. So when you know how to import a model into Unreal or Blender, and you know how to make a city of cubes, just like a normal low poly city of cubes, when you have learned that, learn how to import a car, learn how to animate the human they imported, learn how to, you know, learn how to make the cubes, the city of cubes they made, learn how to make that move around, and then boom, you've learned a lot of stuff. And that's literally how it goes. And when you do that, then go even further out of your comfort zone. Learn how to make textures. Learn how to, the guy that you imported, learn how to rig him. Learn how to use mix mode to, you know, create animations, or even learn mocap with your phone with the AI thing. Learn that and make some cool animations. And what you have to do also while you're doing all this is you have to, number one, not think about every single detail and let it pile up in your head. Don't do that. Just think about what you have to do right now. So what I did is I was thinking about, all right, I have to import the metahumans. So I was just constantly thinking about metahumans. I didn't think about, oh, Unreal has this and this and this and this, I can do it. No, I was thinking about metahumans, and then boom, I had my metahuman because I was just focusing on that. And also what you have to do is you have to visualize your end product. I barely see anybody talk about this, but you have to visualize your end result, what you want to achieve by the end of the day. So when I opened Unreal after seeing the video that Jack had sent me, I was like, all right, like the cube is gonna be hopefully easy, but I was visualizing the scene with the big forest, like the big environment and the guy, the metahuman. I was visualizing those two things as an animation in my head. Um, and in the end, I did it. I actually did complete my vision because I was visualizing myself doing it and then completing that goal. And I only focused on one thing at a time. I focused on metahumans, and then I focused on trees, foliage painting, everything I did in steps. And that's exactly what Pirate Software said, the guy that I played at the beginning. Let me play him again, actually. This right here, this video that we just watched.
There's too many times where we feel you have to be this tall to ride the ride. You have to
See, this is the problem. People think that, for Unreal Engine, let me just copy Pirate. Let me do the same thing. So let's say for Unreal, you think this is you, all right, and this is somebody like you comparing yourself to somebody that has experience, or like a fully, let's say this is a full scene, and this is like, this scene has trees, characters, cars, cities and stuff, and this is where you're thinking, oh, I can't do this, but you're focusing on a full city, like the full individual aspects, the full individual layers of a city. What you need to be focusing on instead is, how do I do, how can I import a cube in Unreal? How do I import a camera in Unreal? How do I open the sequencer in Unreal and add my camera in there, and then start moving the camera? Okay, now I know how to, move a camera around. How do I render my animation? How do I import a pre-made environment? How do I import a metahuman? How do I make a metahuman? So how do I make a metahuman? How do I import it into my Unreal project? All right, boom. Now, how do I download a kit bashing preset? So like multiple assets in one project so you can make your own scene. How do I download that and import it? How do I take those assets and make a scene? All right, now I have a ground with some rocks. How do I do foliage painting? How do I paint a lot of trees in my scene without having to do them manually? How do I import my metahuman into that scene? How do I move him around? How do I import a Mixamo animation into my metahuman? Boom. You've reached the steps and you have a full scene now. These might be a lot of steps. Sure, they might be a lot of steps, but if you just focus on being good at each of these steps one at a time, you'll realize that in no time you're gonna be up here. And you know what? Maybe you'll even get up here, or maybe even further, like even further than what you imagined, and you'll make great things. And this just doesn't apply to animations, it applies to everything, bro. Games, you want to make music, you want to do art, you want to do graphic design, you want to make websites, you want to learn how to cook, you want to learn how to exercise. All that is the same staircase, but just with different descriptions and different objectives. That's it. And all you gotta do is visualize yourself actually doing it, believe in yourself, and take it one step at a time. Focus on one thing, learn how to do that properly, and then once you've learned how to do that properly, do the next thing in the same project. Do that, and trust me, you're going to get so far. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is I just wanted to make this video because when I had made that Unreal scene with the forest and stuff, like, with the guy standing looking at the forest, when I made that scene, I was like, oh my god, like I did something that I never thought I could do. So I sort of had to spread the word and make other people be able to accomplish what they want to. So yeah, I thought I'd just make this video. It's pretty long. I'm sorry for talking so long. But I think I hopefully you guys learned something, and thank you for watching. But once again, remember that you can accomplish anything you want to do.